Today, we're exploring the landmark Supreme Court case U.S. v. Lopez. Let's start with Alex Lopez, the student at the center of it all. Alex, can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, I brought a gun to school. I know it was a stupid move, but um, I didn't think it would end up with all of this mess.
Can you walk us through what happened that day?
Sure. It was a normal day, to be honest. I brought the gun to sell it to somebody. I was just supposed to be the guy in the middle. I didn't plan to use it. I thought I was just gonna stay in my locker where I could quickly deliver it and get it out of my hands. I was just trying to make a little bit of money and move on with my life. Also, aren't I protected by the Second Amendment, right? Why am I even in this trouble?
Could I get Alex Lopez?
Yeah.
Could you open your lock for me, sir? You're under arrest, sir.
I wasn't going to be the one using it. I didn't want any trouble. Getting arrested was terrifying. I thought my life was over. But then they said they dropped the charges or something.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot more to the story. I think my attorney will explain it a lot better.
When Alex was arrested, he was first charged under state laws for possession of a handgun illegally on school grounds. These charges were then dropped for federal charges under the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990. But we argued that this federal law shouldn't apply in this case. We argued that Congress had overstepped its authority. Congress passed the Gun-Free School Zones Act under the claim that the law protected the interstate commerce clause. However, this is a stretch, as almost any law could be justified as constitutional under the Commerce Clause.
We believe that guns in schools affect the economy and therefore fall under the Commerce Clause. It is our responsibility to protect students across the nation. If schools aren't safe, it impacts education, which in turn affects the economy. That is why we claim the law is constitutional. Imagine a public school is enforced but constantly having criminal activity revolving around guns. This will heavily affect the population of the area around the school, as many people will not want to live in an area exposed for gun activity, thus affecting commerce in the area. It is our duty as the federal government of the United States to regulate commerce and make sure areas are not negatively affected, which is a power given to us under Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution.
Your Honor, the Constitution gives Congress limited, enumerated powers, and all other powers are reserved powers for the states. Regulating local schools isn't one of them. The Gun-Free School Zones Act overreaches by trying to apply the Commerce Clause to something that has no substantial effect on interstate commerce.
Your Honors, the presence of guns in schools affects the learning environment, which in turn impacts the national economy. This connection justifies the use of the Commerce Clause.
If the justification for the Gun-Free School Zones Act is the Commerce Clause, what laws can't be justified under the Commerce Clause? Most, if not all, laws can be somewhat justified as affecting interstate commerce. This gives unlimited power to the federal government, destroying federalism.
After careful consideration, we find the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990 exceeds Congress's authority under the Commerce Clause. The law is therefore unconstitutional. This case clarified the limits of congressional power under the Commerce Clause, reinforcing the principle of federalism in our government.
And there you have it. U.S. v. Lopez was a landmark case that set important boundaries on congressional power. Thanks for joining us for this territorial tussle.